Thank you very much, Sean. Welcome to all the delegates to this conference, and also warm welcome especially to our international visitors who are here. I know we're expecting a lot of people today. It's a busy week for the ICT sector this week. I'll just mention it to Sean. We've got a lot of guests from all over the world for different things. And I think as a country, we must be grateful for this opportunity. Two things. First of all, I'd like to congratulate Sean and ICT for 25 years. I think it's a nice thing to start off. And I think for those of you who do not know this, ICT is celebrating 25 years in the business. And I think Sean and his team, perhaps it's early morning, but maybe we can just give them a hearty congratulations for doing this for 25 years. Those of you who've been in business know that being in business for 25 years is no mean feat. That is longer than many people will live, and certainly longer than most organizations will exist. Now, on the smarter cities, smarter society, smarter enterprises concept, let me just start off by maybe giving you an update. The ICT board, Ministry of Information and Communications, I'm sure you know this, and the government at large, is currently embarked on developing the Konza Technology City. We have recruited consultants out of New York called HRNA Associates, who are leading a consortium of about 5 or 6 companies to do what we call the master delivery planning. We have, the consortium is made up of Delberg, who are doing the market assessment to determine which companies are ready to invest in this country. They've talked to over 250 companies and made a checklist of assessments of which companies are ready to come into the city. We've got shop architects who are doing the site design. We've got CURP who are doing the environmental assessment, as well as working on something called the local basically submitting what is required by the local authorities and planning, the Ministry of Lands, with respect to local authority planning. In fact, that is work is now complete and will be advertised. We've got Hamilton, Harrison, and Matthews working on the legal structure. And therefore, it's a good consortium of companies that have come together to make Konza a reality. And the idea is that we'll start off with an acreage of about maybe 500 acres of the 5,000 acres that will be under development in the next 2, 3, 4 years. That has already been master planned. In fact, they will be coming out of New York here to Nairobi in 3 weeks from now to have a second series of workshops, and also to update the Permanent Secretary's Committee on progress with respect to Konza. And the reason why we talk about Konza is that prior to the Konza Technology City project, and I'm sure others like Tatu and many others that are being developed, this country had not actually witnessed any real grand real estate planning at that level. And so it's actually posing new challenges for the people involved. Nobody has ever put a 5,000 acre development and actually planned it. The last time this planning was done was very, very many years ago. I know you can see this from where you live in Kenya, and some of the challenges we face. And it'll be an excellent opportunity to see a city planned from scratch in terms of infrastructure, roadways, sewage, electricity and power, and that sort of thing. But central to that and tied to this theme is the idea that we recognize that cities that you plan for today can be planned smart from the get-go. And what does a smart city involve? I'm sure IBM, who are very big, and they're going to be speaking here, are very big proponents of the Smarter Planet concept, and who we worked with very closely, will tell you this with more authority than I could. But I just thought I'd tease out what a smarter city could be. Smarter cities are cities that are designed around the concept that everything is measured and everything is optimized. And you put in sensing and measurement into everything you do. So for example, a smarter city is a city which ideally the people who run the city know how much water is consumed how much water gets into the system and how much water leaves. For example, in Singapore today, you'll find that in some parts of Singapore, what they do is that there are meters that meter water in and meters that meter water out. And water goes out in many ways, through the shower, through the sewage and everything else. And there's a lot of recycling that is planned, and therefore that is very well structured. The other thing also is that you can measure how much traffic flow there is in order to optimize traffic flow, so that you know how much load or how many cars can actually ideally be passing through a certain city at a certain time. Today, if you're driving through cities like Singapore on the highway and you're going to a certain mall, you'll see a notice board on the highway, like a billboard that will tell you that in this building, so many parkings are available. 242 parkings are available. Because when you come in and park your car, the measurement system, the sensing system can tell the people the gate that suddenly now the 242 cars have been 202 parking slots have been occupied, and there's only maybe 20 more remaining. And that sort of intelligence helps people to plan, and that's done at a very grand level. So when you're driving into the city, somebody can detect how many cars are there. In Dubai, for example, you find clever things like there's a central system that knows how many flights are landing and how many people will be offloaded into Dubai, and therefore how many taxis are required to actually make it into the taxi system for that day. This information, even here, is actually available, only that we don't actually measure it. As long as we do things, we know that this information is available. We should know how many, for example, in Nairobi City today, we should know how many cars actually flow into the city on a daily basis. We should know how many cars go into Westlands. We should know how many cars have to pass through the Westlands Road all the way to the Kuna area, and why there's so much congestion every evening. We should not panic so that somebody has to overtake somebody else thinking that they can go any faster, because really, intelligence can make us learn these things better. Now, if you take that same concept and take it into schools, take it into hospitals, you can imagine how much of an intelligent city we can build. And this is the same thinking that you'll find that will be planned from the get-go at Konza, so that we can know how much traffic Konza can handle, how many people will live in the city, how many parking slots there should be for those people, how many schools there should be for those people, how much traffic you expect coming in, how much traffic you expect going out, how many people are migrant workers, how many people live in the city itself. For example, Nairobi today has a certain amount of people who have to come into Nairobi during the day to work and leave the city at night. So the population during the day is quite different from the population at night. And that has an impact on social services, it has an impact on food, it has an impact on the sewage system, it has an impact on the parking, it has an impact on the healthcare system. And also, in the event of an emergency, we had a national emergency today, we would need those kind of statistics to be called into question, to be called up to be able to help us. IBM made a very nice presentation sometime early this year, I think it was late last year, where the permanent sectors were taken through what we call the smarter cities concept, smarter transportation concept, where they looked at transport, at an optimized transport system for Nairobi, and I'm sure maybe that will be teased out in some of the discussions that are being had. So mine really, Sean, was to welcome delegates today and to sort of set the scene for the next 2 days. I think what we want to do is to say that we believe that ICT can play a major role in making us work smarter. And at the core of working smarter is the idea of data. And the idea of data is that what you cannot measure, you cannot manage. So the idea is that we need to start putting in measurement tools so that we can measure everything we do. How many people are there at this conference? How much food do we need? How much space do we need? How many tickets can we buy? That sort of thing. So that we don't, just to use an analogy, we don't have football stadiums and then we oversell tickets, so that a football stadium that is 60 people, 60,000 odd, is actually catering to 200,000 people because we do not know how many people we expected to come for that football match, just to use an analogy. And we can take that thinking to every sphere of life. So that's the tone of the presentations that we hope to receive, and we hope that the discussions are fruitful. And at the ICT board, just to conclude, we are very, very involved with the Open Data project, which is at the core of making the government a smarter government through the measurement and the management of data. So thank you very much.